Quick reload, and I want to see what the heck happens. I'm sitting here fighting with the game again, and it's doing something silly, so let's see what this rocket does. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to Captain of Industry. I noticed I had an issue, and I've been having an issue for a little bit today. Games being whatever, and doing little goofy things, and putting some things in places so that stuff can get done. Can you stop feeding this thing, please? I'm having a problem, and the problem is that I wanted to do a little bit of upgrading, and the game does little bitty things like that, not wanting to connect stuff. It's fine. That's probably my fault is the way this goes. I'm sitting here doing a little bit of work, and I need to pause this before we have a problem. Sitting here doing some work in between episodes. We're going to have to do some... I had wanted to do titanium. I don't think titanium is happening today, mainly because of this. We are plumb snappity-appity out of coal in our pit over here. There's just a little bit left. We're running off of our backup, which is the ship here, which means I need to go ahead and find our coal mine and kick it back up to, we'll say 96 for now. That should be enough, I think, to keep the furnaces and keep the lights on kind of thing. We should be okay with that part. And everything's going the same way. I have been working over here on this island trying to make it accessible. I had to dig a little pathway into here, and I drug a couple of excavators over to here to kind of just do a little bit of work so that we can flatten out onto the next piece of coal, which isn't a lot. So I think we're gonna hit a wall here. I'm seeing this wall come here fairly soon. Well, fairly soon it'll be with us anyway. This is not a lot of coal. This is probably, I don't know, maybe a couple of 100 years of coal, maybe, depending on how we tend to use things. This is a starter island for those of you that don't know or haven't played this thus far. There's 3 places you get to start. Where we started, which was right here, right over here, and then I think there is another one way out over there where we're currently mining coal and iron and all those things. I think that's another starter place. There might be another spot out here somewhere. I'm not certain. But they tend to try to start you around, coal. They need to start you around coal, iron, and copper, and just so that you've got enough things that you can do a few things. This one's pretty rough because you're out here on this island, and you have to build your way out to the main island in order to be able to do anything. And then, yeah, you'd probably end up rebuilding everything with the way that it would work and be able to be functional. The big problem, I guess, right now that we're having is we've hit that wall, and that wall is not being very kind to us. I had planned on working on titanium today, but I've run out of a lot of things. We've done a couple of other things. I've moved the copper out of this hole because there isn't any left. They're now trying to finish our little bypass thing in here. And again, I ended up with a silly excavator stuck on the wall, and instead of recovering it, I'm just going to have these 3 or 2 excavators, however many here, just dig out from underneath of it, and then once it's back where it needs to be, we'll just worry about it when the time comes. That's a way of fixing things when an avalanche happens, or this is not an avalanche, it's a rock slide happens, and you end up with a thing buried. Okay, our big problem right now is that our space station is fixing to run out of food, which means when they run out of food, they're going to uncrew it, and we're going to lose this wonderful, fantastic bonus. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I've been playing for a little bit this morning, and again, I just restarted and pulled back into an autosave. This rocket doesn't want to move. I don't know why. It says it has no job selected. It has no... Wait, we're waiting on a rocket. Nothing has changed at all, I don't think, except for something that might have been coded into the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and... I don't even know what the deal is here. If you look at the show's overlay that explains where this vehicle can or cannot drive, it's like the launch pad lost its entrance, and I don't know why. Let me grab another thing. Is there a truck around here? What can you drive on? So this was working perfectly fine and has been working perfectly fine for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it isn't. And the only thing I changed, this is the odd thing, the only thing I changed was this right here. I just added in some belting so that the trucks didn't have to carry things over here anymore. What happens if I delete both of those? Are you going to see something then? I mean, I would be well assumed to... Oh, there is something over there. I wonder what it is. Can we maybe reconstruct something right there, right here, and then do this? Something is broken. Come on, reset it. Yeah, I know. Rocket is struggling to find a destination it can reach because we don't need to send anything over here. I may end up having to put some food into this one just to make sure that these people don't die. Can you guys get that built, please, and build this? I mean, if they just get a little bit of food, they'll be fine. I have seen builds where rockets are as close or closer than what we have currently right now, so I wasn't expecting this to be a problem. Dump that. Just empty it into that one, please. Can you take food to place, please? Now, I need you to go launch and take food to our people before they run out of it. Because for whatever reason, that rocket does not want to go where it needs to go, and I don't know why.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Seriously. Well, that's a first that I've ever seen it do that. That's very interesting. I'm assuming now once this one is okay, so this one is 100% ready. We'll deliver a rocket there. It'll pick it up. Our people should be okay now. This will go back over, do a little silly turn. I don't know why it has to do that silly turn. And go in here. Yes, we're waiting on you to make up your mind. I want to see whether or not you're going to go put a rocket over here, because that's not the first time they've tried to do that to me. I've had a couple of problems already with the way this is built, where I've lost the crew in the station for whatever reason. And I wanted to see that time why. So it should back out now and put a rocket on the other. I may have to get another a rocket assembly plant going then. Yeah, I will probably have to get another assembly plant going then, because that is a little silly. It should not have done that. We had a rocket sitting there and a rocket in the building, and it was refusing to go until the other rocket on the other launch pad left. That's not great, guys. That's not great at all. I suppose there's probably a fix for that somewhere. I'll leave this like this for now in case. I hate to have that kind of stuff do that. You don't do this, and you go back over there, put the food into that one, and I'll just leave it so that it's sitting here in case we need to do that again. That's pretty cruddy. I guess we'll continue on doing things. At least now we have the ability for things to be delivered automatically, so that the trucks don't need to be worried about things. The only thing we're not delivering automatically is the station parts basic. Those seem to work just fine. Anyhow, I was planning today on working on titanium and looking at some of the things that we're going to need to do. Did we have to send people? What are we doing again? Okay, so you're sending 2 people. They're out in 10 days, 9 days, 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. Okay. Man, it takes them an awful lot of time, awful lot of days to get into the orbit, so that's fine. All right. Sometimes I've been having problems with this particular thing doing just that very thing, where it shouldn't have done what it did, and there, it tried to drive past it and go wherever. I don't know what the heck's going on over here. I think we're okay. It's just, yeah, we know. They're coming. They're fine. Maybe it's just a thing. Maybe I'm slowly running out of TPS. I don't know how it all goes. I don't know how this game works on that end of it. So anyhow, in between, we're going to have to work on getting some more coal. I'm gonna try to get to a portion of titanium today. It's just, I apologize for that. It's just kind of frustrating. I'm sitting here staring at a thing that should move, and it didn't want to move, and no matter what I did, you know, pausing, unpausing, trying to drive the thing around, it had no want whatsoever to go into that rocket station, because it wanted to go over here where there was a rocket. So I guess it is the game and it is what we play. Titanium is going to be a massive pain in the tail because it is a large and drawn out process, which I think we're probably going to build into this area right here, since we already have a reasonable amount of titanium ore sitting in this hillside over here. There's not a lot, and we're going to probably have to dig for a decent amount of it. I don't know whether it's just going to be sitting, like I said, there's a whole bunch buried underground here as far as where the water used to be, and there's a little bit of sand over here as well, so I don't know what we're going to do with any of this mess over here. I probably should be digging on that one over there, but we have a nice flat spot, so let's take a look at getting titanium at least started. I'm not expecting to get all the way through the process today, but I do want to at least look at it. So titanium, if I can spell it. We're going to start from the bottom because this is a long process. I already know it. I've already looked at it a dozen times, and I'm not really ready to do this, but I am going to say that we're going to need at least enough titanium alloy, this stuff, to keep the space station in the air for now. So I'm not going to go absolutely crazy with this. Essentially, what we probably want to do is we want to be able to make about 16 titanium alloy per minute, and that's just because we already have this system over here. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to be building this stuff. I'm just going to keep this box full right here to keep maintenance running, and then we're going to upgrade everything that's sitting here to work with the new stuff. And at that point, I guess we only have one. So yeah, we need to be able to make at least 16, which means we're going to be dumping another one of these down here, which means I'm going to have to move that, which is fantastic. I guess I can scoot this one over. But anyhow, that's another thing we'll deal with in a little while. I want to make at least as much as we are right now because I don't know how much it's going to take. Maintenance 0.76 per second, per minute. 76 per minute, which means we'll get a little over 8 minutes of game time out of one thing. How many do we get? Maybe we should be looking at that instead of the thing. If I grab a little bitty thing here, we're looking for space station parts. Let's look at this backwards for now. Station parts, we're going to get 4 out of the 8. So, and that's 4 a minute. We're going to use 3/4 of one of those every minute. I say we probably maybe just do that then. Staring at this wall, just staring at this wall, I'm trying to figure out how much I want, because that is going to require 8 titanium alloy, and this is where the silly thing kind of wanders on down. The minimum we can make is 24. We're going to need a little bit of it for the, what are these things called? Compact reactors, for being able to pull asteroids back down later on. And I can see, I guess now that's where the electronics 4 is going to come into as well. I think we do this one time, so we'll just do a basic single line starting from there. I said work backwards, so let's kind of use this area to model out everything that we're going to need. Titanium alloy, I want you, can you build that? So that's a titanium alloy. This is going to require molten titanium alloy. Molten titanium alloy, go up here, click. Molten titanium alloy is going to be produced in an alloy mixer. Again, click, give me the thing. How much can you make per minute? So you're going to, oh my. 108, okay, well, I don't need that much. I don't need that much, but I suppose we go from there. Let's start the line down. Molten aluminum is a thing. So molten aluminum is made in what? Either an aluminum cell. Oh, so we're going to have to do that entire process. Oh my. I know this is here. I've already seen all this. I'm not tripping on it. I know this is here. I know it's coming. I don't know why you couldn't just scrap aluminum ingots in a arc furnace. We're not getting aluminum scrap at all, are we? Well, we're not using anything that would be making aluminum. Unless... Well, I guess the question is do I have access to at least one of these? I know I don't have access over here, although I think I can create it. I think I can make it, like, happen in here. I can do that if we need to. Give me a truck. Any old truck. We're trying to figure things out. Give me a truck. Can you drive? You do not have access to any of those. So we're going to need to knock out one of these pillars or two of these pillars in that corner to get them to get access to that one, which is not amazing. And I have every exit. Well, I suppose what I could do is I could put one of these like right here someplace and then run a line from here to there so that we can get the aluminum for that and then bring it over there. Because I'm planning on building all of it right here. I'm sending the titanium alloy over there. Just from here, we're going to load it on a train or a truck or whatever, and it's just going to come all the way over to this area somehow. I don't know yet how. I know we need to get it made, and I know this is going to be a royal pain. All right, the logistics of things are always a royal pain in the tail. I have an idea there. Okay. So this is going to require an input of molten aluminum times 12, a floaty valvey thingy, whatever it costs. How much does this take? So you're going to make 24, so we're going to be way over. You give me one of these. You're going to need the alumina, which is this whole entire network here. One of these. And then this is one of those. And then there would need a crusher. See where this is starting to be really ridiculous? And then we need, well, we're going to need some kind of containment to keep the stuff in. So we'll just do that right there. So those all should have all the settings that we need. And that is just for one thing, for, well, less than half of what we need. Man, we're going to be able to make a bunch. All right, molten titanium is made in a arc furnace, and according to that, it's 2 of them, so that we can do the full 96. I'm going to end up with a whole lot of this stuff, aren't I? So that's only going to need 24. Excuse me. This is only going to need 12. This is going to make 24. This is going to make 108. This is going to be able to process 24. 108 divided by 24 is 4.5 of those things. I say we just do that and call it done. Granted, I know we're going to need a lot of these later on. I know I'm going to need a lot of that stuff later on. It goes into all of the parts that take to get an asteroid down. So, sure, that's that part. Titanium is we need 2 arc furnace eye. Can I do that from that window? Can I do that from that window? Thank you. I've learned that if you hold the control key down when you click on something, it will drop the device down that you've selected with the recipe in it. So this is going to require 2 of those so that we can do the work there. This is then going to require, and I think you can get to it from in here. Yeah, you can. It's just a re-clicking of various things. That is going to require titanium sponge, which is made in a chemical plant, and this is where this starts to get really silly. Back up. Hit the back button. Thank you. Chemical plant is going to make 24 titanium sponge. And we're going to need, well, if we want to run both of those, you're going to need that much, which is going to then need salt, which we have lots of salt, and then we go into the titanium chloride pure, so click that, and that is going to be produced in a distillation stage 3. Put that down. That's going to be 12 each there. These each will need, for each one of those, we're going to need about that. Starting to see how this is ridiculous? You are going to need the titanium chloride, not the titanium chloride pure, so we'll need that button, and do the same thing here. That is another batch of chemical plants. So I did it again. Hit the right button. Learn how to use this. How many are you going to produce? You're going to produce 12 each. This is going to produce 12 each, so it's, again, 1 for every one of those. Are we still here following? It's kind of silly. As far as I know, I'm doing all this math right. I will say that I did the math incredibly wrong on the circuits last episode. It's we're way over making them, which is fine. We'll need them later. Can I grab all of you guys and kind of set you in there nicely? Sure. Just so we can make enough titanium to run 4.5 of those. That's pretty stinking crazy that it's going to be this big. Okay, so then the next step is we need titanium slag. So that is this. Titanium slag is made in an arc furnace 2. So we'll bring that out here and drop it in behind this because they're roughly about the same size. Titanium slag is made by titanium ore crush. This is 36 titanium slag. This is going to be 36. So again, 1 for every single one of those things. Is that all? 1, 2, 3. I can't. I got the spacing off just a little bit there. Nope. Give me the thing. Now, there's no reason for us to do all of this. Excuse me. There's no reason for us to do all of this right off the bat, considering that all I want is 6. 6, 8, 8 per minute. I need like 8 per minute of these, which is going to be more than everything they can do here. But anyhow, we're looking at this here again. Titanium ore crushed is 48 of this coming out of one of these things probably, right? So let's set this over to here and uncheck that. Check that. Oh, good. That means we only need 4 of them. Sometimes my thingy don't want to work. There you go. So we only need 4 of those. And you grab all this and go. Thank you very much. Go right there. And then, of course, the feeder of the titanium ore, which is sitting right over here. Now, that's part of it. That's just part of it. Because, again, we're going to need the water, which we have available. We're going to need the graphite, which we do have available, and we will be able to produce graphite on site because we have, if we do run, again, if I do all of this at once, I will be able to produce, what is that, 8? 4? 8. 8 times 36. 8 times 36 is 288 of that, which means we're going to run the bigger of the 2 things. I also believe there will be, we'll have carbon dioxide coming off here, carbon dioxide coming off of here. We're going to need 6. We're still going to have to import the graphite, but we should be able to make a decent amount of it because we still have these sitting here. Oh, my brain is starting to melt. We're going to need an awful lot of graphite and an awful lot of a couple of different things. And again, I'm probably not going to build but just the bare minimum of what I can feed with one of these. So we're going to do one single one, but I am going to plan it all out because we're going to need an awful lot of stuff eventually. Why don't you move over? You're kind of ugly. Not that it really matters. You go right there. So all of that stuff, all of this stuff in here, I guess the next really silly thing I need to do, we're going to need graphite, we're going to need water. Which one was the other pain in the tail? So we're going to need a decent amount of salt as well as... Oh, we're going to get chlorine. Oh, no. What are you going to need? You're just going to need the stuff plus some water or some steam, which, again, that's going to be... Did I do that wrong? So, titanium chloride in, titanium chloride out, titanium chloride plus a whole lot of slag and a bunch of CO2. So we should be able to make a decent amount of graphite back here. But again, the whole point is looking at the titanium alloy. There's only, like, I think 2 things we're going to be using this for in the very near future, which is going to be the space station parts and the titanium alloy, or the reactors, basically, for those. Plus, okay, so we are going to use a decent amount for the composite cores as well. So that number is going to have to get changed. We're going to have to look at making more of those for certain. I know this is a kind of an ugly one, and I'm going to have to sit down and figure out how I want to do this. This episode's going to be kind of me just staring at this for a little while and me fighting with some problems, because I need to make up the sides, ideas of whether or not we're going to start tearing apart a few of the other problems that we have. Because, well, for right now, I know for a fact I don't have enough steel to keep up with science, and that means. And by that I mean I don't have enough steel to keep up with science and the production of the rockets. That one thing alone, every single time we build a rocket, is, well, a third of our total production of steel with the way things are going. I have, again, we're feeding our people their nice little household goods and their household appliances. Those 2 things alone are consuming a considerable amount of steel. What else was I going to get into? There's a whole... Let me just put it like this. We have a massive amount of steel that is leaving, and we are not making enough. And that is my biggest problem that I think we're going to have to absolutely get after before we start diving into titanium, which makes me sad because I am going to have to do the one thing that I know I need to do, which is should be fine and ready to go now. Yes, good. Guys, go ahead. I need to delete that line right there so that I can... Good, I almost ran out of fuel in that one. Well, I've been paying attention to it. It's not a big deal. We're needing to move a few things over because, again, our storage here, our radioactive waste storage, is getting full, which means I need to be able to build another 1 or 2 so that we can continue. And what I really probably should get after, like I said, is getting the titanium rolling in such a small amount that we can actually rebuild or build the... I love how they drive through it for no reason. You could have just driven around it, but you drove through it. We need to get after titanium so that we can get after the breeder reactors so we can start eating up all of that waste that we're making here. Because the waste will be put into, the waste here specifically, the spent MOX, is going to go directly into making blanket fuel, which is a fission product, or fission fuel. Basically, it's just going to go into making fuel so that we can go into making more power. And more power, by what I mean by more power, is a lot more power. So fairly soon we're probably going to be rebuilding this structure with 2 breeder reactors behind it and a whole lot more power. So I don't know where we're going to go with that, when we're going to get to that point, but it's going to take us getting into space, or getting us into titanium and into a few things. I think what I'm going to do in between episodes, and I know this is all over the place, I apologize. I've been staring at this thing, and the game has been throwing me a snowball for a little while, and I've been doing what I can to band-aid it. I wanted to talk about titanium, but this is the kind of thing that you're going to look at, that you're just going to do basic amount of stuff, i.e. I'm probably going to do just enough to make it work so that we can get the titanium alloy that we need. So in reality, all I need to do is make 24 molten titanium alloy. Well, 24 is going to be... What is 24? So I need 24 out of that thing. 108. I need to make about a quarter of that, a little over a quarter of what that would be. Well, if that's a little over a quarter, then the smallest I can do is that, and I think that, something about like that, and then just this. So that's what we have to build, as well as supply with all of the parts that it needs in order to make it work. But even then, like we were talking about with the aluminum, how aluminum is a, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step process. Yeah, titanium is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 some odd steps just to make a little bit of titanium. And that's a little bit. So I am going to try to build a nice little thing in between episodes. I'm going to try to stop the snowball. I might do another one of those little worky work thingies that I've done, because we're going to have to move coal, and I want to kind of have you guys along for that when we do it. So I think what I may do is probably today or tomorrow we will have another work log where I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to get rid of some of the little problems, i.e. that coal is going away. I'm going to probably have to fix our sand. And I don't know. I might just get on and do a live stream tomorrow. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. If not, I will probably do, like I said, just a nice long little just chill work kind of thing like I've been doing. So anyhow, that's going to be the nasty mess that we're going to have to look at. And I will hopefully have something for you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.